Hi, everybody. Let's talk about global trade a little bit. Before we get into some of your talking points for your Hill visits, let's spend a little bit of time talking about where we at on exports year to date. So, we now have 7 months of data for the calendar year. What you see in front of you is where we are on the most recent 12-month period on exports, and that's compared to the previous two years data. Remember, 2018 was a record year for U.S. exports. So we had a pretty good start to the calendar year. We got to May. We actually were just slightly ahead of a year ago in spite of COVID, but then the COVID demand destruction hit us, and it hit us pretty hard. So we've been down actually 36% over the past 3 months on U.S. exports, and unfortunately, that's probably going to be the trend going forward. Why are we down? Number one, you're looking at it. I'm sitting here talking to you through a computer. It's not using a lot of ethanol, unfortunately. So that's obviously going on around the world, and it's affecting us like it's affecting us here in the United States. Blending economics are narrow. We've had gasoline prices come down and competing octane prices go down because of the demand destruction. So we have more competition in this environment, and it's affecting us in the discretionary markets. Third, and I'm going to talk about this a lot, is trade barriers. I mean, no doubt we've got trade barriers that have propped up in several parts of the world, and it's affecting these final numbers definitely. So when I talk to traders and ask them where are we going to end up the calendar year, you can see where our 12-month rolling is in front of you. It's probably going to be lower than that because of that trend I talked about on the lower side here the last few months. We're probably going to end up somewhere between 1.1 and 1.25 billion gallons by the end of the calendar year, which will be about down 20% from the prior year. Next slide up, this shows the winners and the losers. Let's look at China. We're off 109 million gallons from the record year. We've been shut out there for 24 months because of the tariffs they have in place. The second one, Brazil, we're off around 200 million gallons over the last 2 years. Why? Part of that's COVID, but part of it's this 20% duty they put on our product, no doubt. Colombia, it's in the green. However, they instituted an E10 policy, which was great a couple years ago. However, their sugar cane growers don't like that they're seeing imports of our product into that country. So their government did a countervailing duty investigation, and they ended up putting a CVD duty on our product of 20 cents a gallon. So you're probably going to see that market narrow up here as we go forward. On the positive side, South Korea. We don't talk about it much. They don't use ethanol for fuel. However, they're great on the industrial use. So they switched from using methanol in their window washer fluid a couple years ago. They now use ethanol. So that's why you've seen a big gain. You've also seen, because of the increased use of hand sanitizer, just like we've seen here, has also helped South Korea out. India has been a great destination. So India, actually through last month, we've shipped 201 million gallons there. It's been a great spot. Everything we ship there has to be for industrial use because of their import laws. But as they blend more ethanol in that country, and they're at around a 5 or 6%, that means more of their local producers' product goes into that fuel supply, which means there's more room for imports from the U.S. So we've seen good increases there. No doubt we've also seen hand sanitizer volume help us out and other industrial volume help us out. But India has been a real bright spot. Arabian Gulf, I didn't put it on this slide, but I think it's worth mentioning when we talk about blending economics. Typically, we ship around 100 million gallons to that market. We've shipped 7 million is all this calendar year, and that was front-end loaded. It's been a trickle here the last few months. So the poor blending economics I talked about earlier are really, they're hurting us in these discretionary markets. So Brazil, boy, this one has been it's been a volatile one here, up and down, a lot of roller coaster of news and some emotions there. You've probably seen over the past couple of weeks all the news out on that product, and we've spent a lot of energy on this as an organization. The last 2 months we've had, though, Canada taken over at number one spot. Why has that happened? Number one, you've had COVID-related demand destruction, no doubt, but the 20% duty that they have on has no doubt affected us. And just to jog everybody's memory on this, back to 2017, we've had several reiterations of this, but the most recent one is the first 198 million gallons that go into that country go in tariff-free. That expired on August 31st at 12:01 a.m. here a couple weeks ago. So there have been heavy negotiations in front of that, over the weekend before that, and then after that you saw in the news. And the outcome wasn't the one we wanted. It's not what we asked for. They ended up coming up with a 90-day extension to continue the negotiation. Unfortunately, that punts us out to the elections in both countries. And it also, for the Brazilians, it was not that big a give. Typically, our lowest export months to Brazil are from August to November because they're ending their harvest. They have a large supply of ethanol and they don't need ethanol as much. So it wasn't a real big give to the Brazilians to do this 90-day extension. So our ask here for all of you is simple. We want to have the level, we want to have a level playing field. Last year, Brazil shipped us 314 million gallons, paid virtually no tariff. We shipped them about the same amount, a little more, 332 million gallons, but they can charge us a 20% tariff. It's not fair. We just just make that point known to the congressman and ask for their support as you're making your Hill visits. China is up next. I don't need to. I think we're all pretty well aware of what's going on there. We spent a lot of time with USTR and the administration making sure that both ethanol and DDGs were in the phase one trade deal. They were, however, here we are in September, and they've not bought any material amounts of either one of those products. So we need to continue to push on the administration to make that happen. When you look at trade data through July, the Chinese have been buying at about a $1.4 billion pace per month of ag products. They need to be buying $3 billion a month, and we have two products that can help solve that problem. Both ethanol and DDGs can add $1 billion annually over that to those 36 plus billion in ag trade commitments that they've made. So make sure you drive that point home when you're talking to the representatives. On China, our asks are pretty simple. On ethanol, the tariff today is 45%. We need to ask that to be lowered to 5%, and that's been our consistent ask. On DDGs, we need them to remove the countervailing duties and the anti-dumping duties that they put on several years ago. And right now the tariffs there are 53.4% going up to 65+%. We need those removed. I think we can all agree probably the one variable out there that can move the bottom line the fastest for ethanol stakeholders is China. So if you're talking about global trade, make sure you get a few words in here on China.